The next slide is about responsibilities. Right there, responsibilities. And the first one I'm going to talk about is equal opportunities. I think that every individual, every child, every adult, every teen, whatever your age is, you should have equal opportunities to be involved in any sports, in anything at all. It shouldn't matter about the level you are playing at, your gender, your age, and other groups that should not prevent learners from being able to participate. An example of this, and a bad example of this, if a coach put together a white team and then said to the darker colours, they're not allowed to play because the skin is different colour. That is discrimination and racist. Therefore, this is a bad example. It is dumb, that example. People do discriminate and really disrespectfully put people into categories because their race or gender, financial statements, or age or ability. Why is this important? Why is equal opportunities important? It is important because you don't want people in sports to be left out. People get neglected and they feel lonely and isolated from other people. It is not nice as is bullying other people in a different way than normally. It is still bullying, therefore it should not be allowed. That's why it is important to have equal opportunities. I'm going to move on to professional behaviour. As a coach or a leader, they should constantly be keeping a professional behaviour. This means that they are being a role model. A good role model must keep their behaviour sensibly and professionally, which means they have to be responsible and reliable. This is because people look up to them, the students look up to them, their players look up to them, therefore a coach or a leader needs to have that professional behaviour so they can be trusted and the students will not behave disrespectfully because they can see that the coach is being professional, therefore they will need to be professional. An example of professional behaviour is if a coach or a leader is going to do a training session and they turn up just before the time when they need to start the session. This is professional behaviour because that means that they are doing the risk assessment, they are making sure that they are there on time, they're slightly earlier so they can get everything organised, that they're wearing the correct kit and they're being motivated and enthusiastic throughout the session. Not only that, as a good example is that they do not smoke or swear or use inappropriate language in front of their performers, players or students. Why do you need a coach to have professional behaviour? Because it shows that they are a good role model. It is not allowed to be disrespectful to a coach, and therefore with a coach having professional behaviour, they are more likely to be respectful and they will listen to you and they will do as the coach says. They also follow rules because if they're not professional, then they think the students or the performers can be unprofessional too, and then they can muck around, break rules, and get themselves into trouble. Health and safety, which is the next one right there. It is very, very important to have health and safety as a coach. As a qualification, as a basic knowledge, health and safety is main number one importance. This means that the coach or leader will have to risk assess all the equipment, the environment, and the players to see if they're injured or anything to keep them healthy and safe. They will need to make sure that everybody knows where all their first aid equipment is, the first aid kit, just in case they need it, making sure that a first aider is on site first, knowing their first aid, so the performers or players need to know who the first aider is, so that you can go to them if they have an injury, and making sure that they know where the fire exits are if they are inside a building. An example of this, if the coach does the health and safety talk before every session to make sure that young children, or any performers know exactly what's going to go on when there is a fire alarm, or if they have any injuries, so they know that they can't sort themselves out. They must follow these rules because health and safety is very important and they must be followed in a precise procedure. Why do we have them? It is to prevent injury. Injury to people, injury to the environment, and any injury at all is preventing injuries, because without health and safety, wild things could happen. Those people could be injured, the environment could be all messed around, and it needs to be health and safety. Lastly, knowledge of the coaching environment. This is important because the coach or leader needs to know what facilities they're going to be at, what the environment is like, if they are indoors or outdoors. Is it raining? Is it being flooded? It's a bit like health and safety. It needs to be checked over, risk assessed, and you need to be qualified to coach on that environment, or outside or inside. Therefore, it is important to have a range of knowledge for the environment. It is also important that you know knowledge of the environment because of the performers. This means that if you have young children, that you have risk assessed and as coach know what your environment is like, so it's suited to the players or to the age and to the ability they are playing at, so there is preventing injuries at all times. An example is a coach will need to be aware of changes in legislation that will affect coaching guidelines. They should also look to improve the skills where possible to enroll on higher NGB qualifications. Why do we need them? You need knowledge because it is important to know the game inside and out and to manage players emotionally, physically and mentally. You need the qualifications if the coach is more likely wanting to go into higher teams, such as if you're going from local to elite, non-elite to elite, that you'll need experience and you need qualifications. And that's responsibilities. Going to move swiftly on to skills. I'm going to talk about 3 different skills. I'm going to start with problem solving. Problem solving as a coach is very important as a key skill, as you will need good communication, good knowledge, good awareness, and quick decision making. This only works to change a game's success. Problem solving could happen, for example, in a football team. A player gets injured and you have that one sub. That one sub can't go that position because they don't play that position. So the coach or leader will need to adapt to the situation, and they will need to change the formation to make sure that player fits them right. And it's quick problem solving, so they need to think on their feet because the time limit is very quick. They need to have good communication, because they are talking to the players. So out on the pitch compared to on the sideline, they might not be able to hear, so hand gestures, clear voice, projecting your voice. Good knowledge. You must have making sure that good knowledge of the players. Like, for example, as I said, that person on the sub who can't play that position. Therefore, they had knowledge to change the players to fit the positions and the formation. They must have good awareness, because they must know and see that injury or that action that might happen to cause a problem. Therefore, then you need to have quick decision making to solve that problem quickly. Next is organisation. Right there. Organisation for a coach or a leader is very important, as the coach has to have this skill. The coach must have knowledge and must have adaptability to be able to be organised, because coaches have a massive role with players and performers, therefore they need to adapt to them and be organised to make sure people are turning up to training, and that they need to be organised for the training, that they are organising their players through the game, and when games are, they need to have knowledge of the players, therefore they've got knowledge of where their positions are, knowledge if they are attending training and games like that. Need to plan for games, so they need to put specific training sessions for specific games. They need to adapt to situations, therefore needing to have consequences, and if something happens like a problem, they need to solve it and be organised that they're able to solve it, so they don't have to worry so much. Lastly, communication. Right? Yeah. Communication is very important for a coach. Very, very important. They must be confident, have the right attitude and knowledge and determination. To be able to communicate to different players at one time is a very hard skill. Therefore, they need to have a range of communication between non-verbal and verbal, such as demonstration, hand gestures. They can talk, but making sure if they're talking clearly, loudly, projecting their voice and the right attitude in their voice, so they are not talking down players. They must have knowledge, because they need to know what they are talking about. If the coach knows what they're talking about, the players can respect them and understand what they're saying. If the coach doesn't know what they're talking about, the players or performers are more likely to disrespect you and to behave badly. The right attitude is all about your tone of the voice. The tone of the voice is very important when talking to people. When you're trying to inform them or advise them or directly tell them what to do, the right tone of voice is very important. Roles, responsibilities and skills are all different in each individual way. Therefore, when they are put in different situations, such as non-elite, elite, they slightly differ, and depending on other factors, such as being a part-time coach or a full-time coach, different sports like an individual sport or a team sport, and the coach is very dependent, and if it's a non-elite team to a elite team. The skills vary, and the more elite you are, the more experienced you are, the more full attention you put in as a coach, the better as a coach you are, the better skills, the better responsibilities, and the role will fit you perfectly. The more responsibilities you have, the better you'll be. You'll be more organised, and the coach or trainer, you need to have responsibilities and skills with any of the roles I have suggested from above. Therefore, you need experience with this. It's all about being a coach. It's all about experience. You don't get taught being a coach. You can only be taught as much as you can, but a good coach, it comes with experience.